opens at noon. What's the first news we're going to hear in Eagle Land when it comes to this window that kicks off today? It's got to be Jaelan Phillips, right? Because of the
it's interesting. They changed the rule this year where, previously during the legal negotiating period, you can only deal with agents. You couldn't talk specifically to players. And now you're allowed to talk to players via Zoom or some kind of video conference for an hour per. So, and you have 5 guys you can talk to in that way. So teams might want to wait a little bit longer to check in with guys. I don't know. This is the first time it's happened. So we'll see how that affects things. Be interesting if I assume we'll uncover eventually the 5 guys, and the Eagles are going to talk to 5 guys because they have the option. They're going to do it.
Right.
So I imagine they'll come out eventually, but we'll see. So it's kind of new, uncharted grounds for how it's going to be. In the case of, you saw some of the repurposing, as I like to call it, yesterday around about the Eagles and Jaelan Phillips. You've been watching this show. Yeah, he's their top priority. Retention, off season. Now they're not going to hand him a blank check. There is a walkaway number. Don't know what that is.
Does the Davis deal have any impact there?
No, they had budgeted
separate buckets, right?
Yeah. And they budgeted heavily. I saw our boy James Carver, if he's listening, he sent us a long note on X. He's always been a big Jordan Davis guy. So big shout out to James Carver. But he had mentioned, well, if they don't get Phillips, they'll pivot to Dean. They're pivoting to they're getting an edge rusher. They budgeted for the edge rushing position. Now I think it's going to be done with Jaelan Phillips. Ultimately, I've always thought he'd be back. I think he understands the Eagles are going to pay him market value. He understands his best football has been with Vic Fangio. He understands how well he played late last season. Ultimately, I think they're going to get it done. If you look at Athletic, I think he was 3rd. If you look at the well thought of around the league, and usually pass rushers at his age don't hit the open market. So he's number 1. He's the biggest priority, and I think the Eagles are going to get it done, but we shall see.
Any indication where you think that number is, John? Have you heard any new information on the Jaelan Phillips deal? I mean, I've seen some pretty crazy numbers floated out there. I've heard 27, 28 million, and you look at some of the contracts being signed, John. I mean, it's not hard. It's not hard to get me to believe that Jaelan Phillips' camp wants 28 million, and it could be even more than that they want. Anything you've heard around what that number could be with Jaelan Phillips?
No, I mean, there's guys at the top are going to get overpaid. So he's going to get overpaid. The question is that 25, 24, 25? It's not 18. I know that. Is it 30? Then the Eagles.
It's not the famous 17.3 on Spotrac, John.
Yeah. I hate to pick on him, but I mean, I don't know what was going on there, but it'll dry up pretty quickly, though. You see some of the deals getting done before free agency. They're more modest, but I think Jaelan's going to be one of the few guys who cashes in really, really big. And it'll look worse when they announce it. Like I said, that's my prediction. If you want a prediction, you're going to be blown away by the size of the deal, and then the real numbers will come out, and it'll make more sense. But that's my prediction on Jaelan Phillips.
Well, that's a good prediction, John. That's always how it goes, and that's what happened with the Jordan Davis deal as well.
It happens in every deal. That's just the way it is. But boy, people buy it. That's why they do it. And you know, the old adage with some business people is people remember the first story. They don't
Well,
remember.
you know, John, it's not. Is it even people like, for example, how do you cover it? You know, we and you went live. How do I cover it without using the numbers that are put out? And in a way, it's almost like coercion into making people believe it because I have to say the numbers without
Well, we
knowing the
said
real
the numbers,
numbers.
but we added the context to it
Right.
right away. Because I got one of the reasons I can't jump on right away when these things happen is I'm trying to gather information.
Right.
Well, one of the things I was able to gather, it kept them under contract to 2029. Well, I'm saying 2026, 2027, 2028. No, that's the Eagles' typical way of doing things. Fold in the 5th-year option, and sure enough, that's what happened. So it's really a 4-year, $91 million, which is still significant. And again, you'll have void years, and the cap part of it will be much lower than people expect. And how he will get all his flowers, how does he do it? Yada yada yada. Well, he does it because you know what's going on with AJ. You know. Yeah.
Well, we got to go there this morning, John. I mean, I wasn't even going to go to AJ this morning, but I got to go to him after I heard what you said. You said, and I think this was the phrase, Howie is jumping through hoops right now on AJ Brown. Is that the phrase you used, Johnny Mac? What exactly did you mean by that? And elaborate a little bit on what the latest you've heard on the AJ Brown saga is here in Philly.
Well, we said from the start it makes no sense from a business perspective to trade AJ Brown right now because of the impact it does to your cap right away if you make the trade now. It doesn't make any sense. So, you know, I think the term that Mike Garafolo used was trying to be creative. You know, can we do 2 separate deals? Can we do a deal now and do a deal after June 1st? And then he doesn't go to you to after June. It's not, and nobody's biting on that, obviously. So, you know, so this talk of, we don't have to trade him. Well, you're doing a lot to try to trade him. So to me, that's where I say it's not, to me, it's not if, it's when now. You know, it might, and I don't think it is going to be right now because it'll impact the Eagles too much in the short term. Okay, the next window will be the draft. Probably won't happen then either for the same reason. Next window is after June 1st, but really August could happen. Micah Parsons kind of opened up that market. In season could happen. Next March will happen. I mean, best case scenario, you got 1 year left with AJ Brown, in my opinion. Now, also, things can go well in that year. Sean Mannion can turn into Bill Walsh. Jalen Hurts can turn into, you know, Joe Montana and throw a bunch of and AJ could all of a sudden be happy again. So, you know, when you have time, you can fix things. But, I mean, the guy's trying to be creative. Maybe I went too far and jumping through hoops. Why are you trying to be so creative if your goal is to keep him here? Why? Because he doesn't want to be here.
Right.
I mean, to me, it's pretty clear. And I know people are going to shit their pants about that, but grow up, baby.
It is what it is, John. I mean, you're right. A lot of indications here on that. John, we got Jeff Kerr coming up in a minute here. I want to thank everybody for